Hello, good morning. We have finished last meeting thermodynamics first law. Okay, so we will now proceed to elaborate further the first law and maybe discuss some applications of the first law of the thermodynamics. So we will discuss today what you call thermochemistry. So what's in here in thermochemistry in this lecture? We will discuss thermochemical equations, the definition of thermodynamic definition of heat of reaction. So standard state, the standard enthalpy of reaction, the Hess law, how do we calculate the reaction enthalpies based on formation and combustion enthalpies, how do you determine the heat of reaction based on experimental calorimetry. Then we will recall heat capacity and the types of molar heat capacities. And of course, we have also mentioned the Kirchhoff's law last meeting. No? We will relate that into this topic, enthalpy, and what is this Born-Haber cycle. Okay, so let us proceed. The thermochemistry, is the old school or the reaction heat. You can just say it that it is the measurement or the calculation of heat absorbed or your Q or heat produced in chemical reactions. So it is the application of the first law. Thermochemistry is the application. Now, thermochemical equations will show the reaction of the heat in addition to the chemical change. So in the chemical change, you have what you call your reactants or the substances that you will combine is what you call reactants, and the effect or the outcome is what you call products. Okay, so reactants are usually on the left side of the thermochemical equation, and the products are on the right side of the thermochemical equations. They are separated by an arrow. Okay, whether or not this arrow can be one-headed, meaning one direction, or two-headed arrow, meaning it can be reversible. It is a reversible reaction in that case. So the sign of Q, as we have discussed last meeting, when it is exothermic process, Q is less than 0. Okay, so it is your heat produced or heat absorbed is negative. Okay, and when it is endothermic, your heat is positive. Your Q is greater than 0. So the old heat of reaction or Q in our current terminology, at constant volume, it is Q sub V, or that is equal to delta U. And at constant pressure, Q sub P, or it is your delta H, or your change in enthalpy. Okay, so the absolute values of H, your enthalpy, and U, your internal energy, are unknown and depends on the conditions. However, we have some reference state. One of these is what you call standard state. So the standard state of a substance at any temperature means the pure substance at pressure or P naught is equal to 1 bar. Okay, your 1 bar here is equal to 1 times 10 to the 5th Pascal. Okay, so remember this standard pressure. This is the value of your standard pressure of any substance. And the standard enthalpy of formation for a compound or delta H naught, delta form H naught is the enthalpy change accompanying its formation from its elements in the standard state. The standard enthalpy of formation of elements is zero, okay, at any temperature. Remember this. So your delta or your H sub m naught is equal to 0 joules. So this is for at any temperature. Okay. Now the standard enthalpy change of processes or your delta H naught, the enthalpy change no in this process is in such a way that your initial or the reactants in the standard state and your final no, the products are in the standard state. Okay. So the formula here we have mentioned the last meeting, your delta H would be just your delta H final minus delta H initial. Okay, so this is just a recall. The standard enthalpies of formation and combustion are important reaction enthalpies. Okay, so these are just some examples of some processes. Okay, so you have these lots of processes. For example, phase transition. No, you have your symbols as delta transition age. Okay, your change in enthalpy in transition. Okay, so you can just read and memorize this uh, table of processes and their symbols. Okay, so this includes physical changes and chemical changes. So you can see the color coding for the physical changes and of course your color coding for chemical changes. Okay, I won't go into detail and explain the difference between the physical changes and chemical changes because I already know that you have knowledge of this as this is discussed to you previously. So let us go into detail of these physical changes first. Okay. So in thermodynamics, phases are states of matter. So for example, they are gas, liquid, and solid. So in solid phases, there are several different modifications of the same substance. Okay. So these are just some examples in the parentheses. Okay. For example, white and red P, the graphite, the diamond. Okay. So these changes of state are called your phase transitions. Okay. So it is in on the table a while ago. It is symboled as delta transition H naught. Okay. So what are some examples of these phase transitions? So for example, your melting going to freezing or vice versa. Another one is your evaporation going to condensation or vice versa. Another one is sublimation or deposition or vice versa. Okay, so these are just some examples of your phase transitions. Okay. So we have here some tables. So these values are already determined for you. No? You just need to find the value itself and then plug it into the equation sometimes. Okay. So for He, element He or your helium, no, the fusion change in enthalpy is 0.02 kilojoules per mole. Okay. Or your vapor phase transition change in enthalpy is 0.084 kilojoules per mole. Okay? So all of them, all of these in the table are positive as melting and evaporation are endothermic. So remember, endothermic is Q, no, is greater than 0. So that's why they are positive. Okay, so heat is produced at freezing or condensation or exothermic. So this is quite the opposite. No? So your delta transition or your change in enthalpy in transition would have would be the same, but the sign is of course the opposite or your negative. Okay. So what is this Hess law? Okay. So remember that enthalpy is a state function. So meaning when state function, we are only concerned in the final value or final state and the initial state. Okay. So it depends no on the initial and final state. We do not need to determine the values during its path going into the final state. Okay, so we only need to concern ourselves with the initial value and the final value. Okay, so the standard enthalpy of the reaction is always the sum of the standard enthalpies of the individual reactions in the step or in the series. Okay, so remember this. So the total change, no, enthalpy is this the sum, no, of the change in enthalpy in the particular reactions in that series of reactions. Okay, so it is let us analyze it further, no, and then see, no, how do we calculate that. So we have discussed, no, last meeting that you can measure or one device to measure uh, enthalpy is a bomb calorimetry. Okay, so how do you measure, no, the enthalpy reactions, no? So one way, no, or a direct way to determine the delta H or your change in enthalpy in reaction is measurement by calorimetry. Okay, so let's have this for an example. No? Your H2 plus Cl2 is equal to 2HCl. Okay, so ayan. Then another example is your C3H6 plus H2 is equal to C3H8. Okay, so the delta H in the reaction, no, can be calculated from the formation enthalpies of reactants and products. Okay, so I've mentioned that the delta H of the whole series of these two series here can be calculated using the sum of the individual reactions there. So when I say individual reactions, the reaction of the H2, no? So you get the delta H of H2, you get the delta H of Cl2, and then you get the H of delta H of 2HCl or your products, and then of course you combine them. Okay, so that is called, no, those individual reactions, no, that is called your formation enthalpies. Okay, so it is symbolized by delta subform H naught. Okay, so your formation enthalpies are not typically measurable, no, directly, but it can be calculated, no, from your combustion enthalpies. Okay, so this is where your Hess law comes in. Okay, so to calculate this formation enthalpies, you need to use your Hess law, no, to get the combination enthalpies. Okay, so for example, you have your C3H6, no, plus 4.5O2, and the products would be 3 carbon dioxide, no, plus 3 water, no, H2O, okay, in liquid form. Okay, so these are what you call enthalpy. Now we will get the enthalpy of combustion here. Okay. So similarly, you have your second uh, enthalpy of combustion here sa second reaction. Okay, to talk to calculate no the Hess law, to calculate the standard reaction enthalpies no from the standard enthalpies of formation, no, we will use the first law of thermodynamics. Okay, so using the first law, we will arrive at this formula. Okay, your reaction enthalpies is equal to the summation of the formation enthalpies of the products minus the formation enthalpies of the reactants. Okay, so condensing it, no, you will use this formula on that delta sub r h naught is equal to the summation of v sub j, okay, multiplied to the formation enthalpies of all there in the series of reaction. Okay, so the v sub j, no, is what you call your stoichiometric coefficients. No, these have signs also that you should consider. Okay, so let's have an example for better understanding. Okay, so we have this reaction, no, 2HN3 in liquid, no, plus 2NO in gas form, no, and the products of the mixing of these two substances is H2O2 in liquid and 4N2 in gas. Okay, so how do we calculate the standard enthalpy of reaction? Okay, so we have said that the formula here, no, you can see it should be the summation, no, of the formation enthalpies, no, of the stoichiometric coefficient multiplied by the formation enthalpies of the products, no, minus the summation of form formation enthalpy multiplied by the stoichiometric coefficient of the reactants. Okay, so let's have the example. So delta sub r H naught will be equal to applying the formula. It is equal to delta formation, no, H naught of H2O2. No, it is this uh, prod products first. No, the formation enthalpies of the products first. H2O2 in liquid form plus 4 times the formation enthalpy of N2. Okay, minus your delta uh, formation enthalpy, the change in formation enthalpy of the reactants. Okay, so these are the equation, no, if you will write it as is, no, and of course we have a table, no, to know the delta formation. Okay, the delta formation or the change in formation enthalpy of H2O2 in liquid, no, is 1.188 kilojoule per mole. Okay, and of course so on, no, if you substitute the values and then perform the equation, you will get that the change in enthalpy of the reaction of this particular reaction is negative 802 kilojoule per mole. Okay, now let's have another example, no, for calculating standard reaction enthalpies, no, but this time it is for enthalpies of combustion. Okay, so we need to calculate the change in enthalpy of this reaction C3H6 plus H2, that would become C3H8. Okay, so all these three substances, no, can be burnt in calorimeter. Okay, and then we have this uh, particular uh, values, no, of this combination enthalpies, no, the change in enthalpies of the reactants, no, your C3H6 and H2, and of course your products. Okay, so to calculate the change in enthalpy during the reaction, no, the series of reaction, you just need to use the formula. Okay, but this time you instead of using the delta formation or delta H formation, you use the delta H combination. Okay, so using those values, you just need to substitute it. Remember, it is reactants, no? Reactants minus your products this time. Okay, so as you can see here sa formula natin, no? It is quite reverse, no? Kung ginamit natin yung kanina yung formation, ang gamit natin ay products minus reactants. This time, kapag combination enthalpy yung gagamitin natin, it is reactants minus products. So let us substitute them, no? So for your delta H, no, using combination enthalpies, you will arrive at negative 124 kilojoules per mole. Okay, for this particular series of reaction. Okay. Okay. So what is this term oxidation? So oxidation is the burning, no, in a large excess oxygen, no, burning of a large excess of oxygen inside the bomb calorimeter. Okay, so this is usually complete and fast. Therefore, the calculation, no, of your delta H or your change in enthalpy formation is usually feasible. Okay, so to calculate, let us try to calculate the enthalpy of combustion of methane. Okay, so the reaction formula or thermochemistry formula equation, thermochemical equation for the methane is your carbon plus 2 hydrogen 2H2 is equal to your methane or your CH4. Okay. However, this is unfeasible. Okay. But when I mean unfeasible, it is unfeasible to calculate it using this thermochemical equation. Okay. However, you can use, no, the values, no, inside the bomb calorimeter for these three particular equations. No, you can break it down. So the first thermochemical equation is your carbon plus your oxygen would become your carbon dioxide. Okay, your C plus O2 would be equal to CO2. Okay, the next is your 2H2 plus your oxygen would be equal to 2 water, your 2H2O. Okay, and then of course lastly your methane plus 2 oxygen would be equal to carbon dioxide plus 2 water H2O. Okay, so now you can separate it, no, and then determine the combination change in enthalpy of your carbon, of your H2, and of course your methane. Okay, you just need to try and get these three combination enthalpies, no, based on these three thermochemical equations. Okay, so just the same. So this is the just an overview of the bomb calorimeter that we have discussed last meeting. Okay. All right. So to calculate it, no, you just need to perform the experiment, no, the bomb calorimeter experiment, and then once you get these three combination enthalpies, no, change in enthalpy, you can now calculate the enthalpy of combustion of methane. No? Okay, you go back to the first thermochemical equation and then you can now calculate it, no? Okay, now let us move on to heat capacities. Okay, so we have already discussed this heat capacities last time. Now we have your CV and CP, no, at constant volume and at constant uh, pressure. Okay, so as you can see, the formula for your constant volume of your heat capacity, no, is dependent on your internal energy, while your heat capacity at constant pressure, no, it is dependent on your enthalpy. Okay, it is the derivative, no, partial derivative of your enthalpy over your partial derivative of temperature. Okay, so and we have also discussed the values, no, so these are the values of your heat capacities. Okay, so 12.47 for your monoatomic gases, no, your CV. For your diatomic molecules, your CV will be 5 over 2R. And then for your nonlinear polyatomic molecules, it is 3R. Okay. Now, why am I going back, no, to this uh, heat capacities, no? So as you can see, no, we have discussed your enthalpies, your thermochemical equations, and how do we get the uh, change in enthalpy on the thermochemical equations, no? Remember that your enthalpy is actually dependent on your temperature, no? As seen in here in your formula in heat capacities, no? Cp is equal to your partial derivative of your enthalpy over your partial derivative of temperature at constant pressure. Okay, so it is actually dependent, no? Your enthalpy is actually dependent on temperature, meaning so at different temperatures your enthalpies change. Okay, so you need to consider this heat capacities, no, in calculating your change in enthalpy. Okay, so we have that Kirchhoff's law that we have discussed last week. So Kirchhoff's law, no, is characterized by this formula. Your enthalpy at temperature 2 is equal to your enthalpy at temperature 1 plus the sum, no, of your or your integral of your uh, heat capacity at constant pressure. Okay, so this is your Kirchhoff's law. So this is how you get your enthalpy. So applying Kirchhoff's law to the equation, no, in a reaction, no, so we can get the change in enthalpy or your delta H at temperature 2 equals your delta H at temperature 1 plus your integral, no, of your change in molar or your change in heat capacity, no, your Cp at temperature 1 going to temperature 2. Okay, so this is the relation, no, of your Kirchhoff's law to what I am discussing a while ago, that is your change in enthalpies. Okay, so change in enthalpy is actually dependent on your temperature, and then to get it you just need to add, no, to the initial change in enthalpy or the delta H at temperature 1 the integral of your delta heat capacity at temperature 1 and temperature 2. Okay, so that is your Kirchhoff's law. Okay, so let us proceed further, no, to the Born-Haber cycle. Okay, what is this Born-Haber cycle? No, this is just a common application of the first law. It is used to calculate the lattice enthalpies of crystals or the hydration enthalpies of ions. So sometimes the electron affinity of ions, no, it is based on the thermodynamic data obtained for the rest of the processes in a cycle. Okay, But do remember that in a cycle, your net enthalpy change should be zero. Okay, let us have this uh, cycle here. Okay, so you have here your cycle here, no, and remember that I have said that the net enthalpy change should be zero. So you should equate this cycle to zero. Okay, so it's just a another thermochemical equation. Okay, so let us visualize it. Okay, so here, as you can see, no, the Born-Haber cycle, no. So this is how you determine the lattice enthalpies. Okay, so let us separate this long thermochemical cycle, no, into pieces. Okay, let us first visualize the first reaction. Okay, so as you can see here, okay, as you can see here, so the first reaction here, or your 1/2 delta H, no, this of Cl2. Okay, where is it? It's here. Okay, so your enthalpy change should be positive, going up. Okay, so it is going up. Okay, and then you add your delta sub of your the change in enthalpy of your sodium, your Na, which is here. Okay, yeah, so it is also going up. Now you have your delta H of your sodium again. Yeah, and then this one. Okay, so it should be equal to zero. So the sum of these four, no, plus these two should be equal to zero. Okay, so meaning this cycle, no, will just go over and over again, no. Okay, so if you can see, it should go back to zero. Okay, it should go back to where it started. Okay, so if it started here at some point here, your and lattice enthalpies, no, it should go back. So whatever reaction here going up, no, it should and then it will go up again here, no. If you calculate this one na, it should go back, going to the initial state. Okay, so that's how you uh, say that the net enthalpy change should be zero. Okay, okay, let me just erase all the drawings. Okay, okay, so that's your Born-Haber cycle. Okay, so that's you just need to remember, no, in Born-Haber cycle, what it says lang is the net enthalpy of or the lattice enthalpies, the net change in your lattice enthalpies is equal to zero. Okay, so that's just your takeaway, no, in the Born-Haber cycle. Okay, so in short, no, let's summarize all our discussion. Okay, so thermochemistry focuses on the heat absorbed, no, or produced in chemical reaction, or your Q. Your Hess law, no, is a specific form of your first law of thermodynamics, stating, no, that stated that for enthalpy changes of processes at constant pressure. Okay, and each substance has a change in enthalpy. Okay, which is a state function in itself. Okay, and of course you have discussed your concept of standard state, no, or your 1 bar, no, at a specified temperature. Okay, and we have discussed your formation enthalpies. Okay, and then we have also, no, discussed, no, that if a compound cannot be prepared directly, no, so the enthalpy of formation can be calculated using your Hess law, okay? Based on the measurable enthalpies of combustion or your delta H combustion, okay? So we have also elaborated no further that delta H no is equal to the summation of your uh, enthalpies no of your products minus your reactants, okay? So that's in the form of formation enthalpies. However, no, if it is at if you use the combination enthalpies, no, your delta H combination, no, you just need to reverse, no. It is reactants minus products, no, instead of your products minus reactants. Okay, so that's our topic for the day, no. That's the end of our topic for today. Okay, so if you have any question, no, just message me, and let's continue to the next lesson next week. Thank you.